Well, we start with some overnight news. One man is in the hospital after an overnight stabbing.
And sheriff's deputies are still trying to figure out exactly what happened here. News 13's David Romero is live in northwest Albuquerque. And David, it looks like deputies are still out there, aren't they?
And they are expected to be out here for quite a while longer, Matt. Now, this call came in about 1:30 this morning to a home here on Chamizal, just east of Rio Grande Boulevard. Take a look behind me. You can see one of the deputies is still parked out here blocking off the road. Now, these homes, or this home rather, is in the heart of Los Ranchos de Albuquerque. Deputies tell us that the stabbing happened at a home here on Chamizal, as I mentioned. This is right off Rio Grande. Now, the information is limited as the investigation continues, but we do know that one man was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. There's no word on what led to the stabbing or if deputies even know who did it. I spoke with the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Public Information Officer about a short while ago, and he told us that one of the elementary schools in the area, which is Los Ranchos Elementary, he can't confirm at this point if that school will be affected or locked down or if there's any suspects outstanding at this point. He said that's something that they still have to determine as part of the investigation. Meanwhile, traffic north and southbound on Rio Grande Boulevard is open. However, you cannot go east on Chamizal from Rio Grande, and we are looking into as to when they expect to open this back up. Matt, back to you.
All right, thank you for the update this morning, David. Of course, as we learn more information about this, we will pass it along to you. Well, developing news now, the two young women accused of murdering a man in cold blood, dumping his body in the trunk of his car, then stealing it, are still in jail this morning, and his neighbors are now talking about what police say happened. Ashley Garuli and Jennifer McKee are just 18 and 20 years old. They'll both need $1 million cash if they want out of jail. Investigators say they killed Maurice Gonzalez on Friday, got into a high-speed chase on I-25 and ended up crashing the car in Berlin. That's when investigators found Gonzalez's body in the trunk. They say Gurule and McKee admitted to killing him, and Gonzalez's neighbors say they just can't believe what happened.
He's been living there about 5-7 years, maybe at the most. He was a very quiet guy. I never saw anybody there except lately. A lot of girls were coming in there.
Investigators say another girl, Julia Martinez, was in the car on Friday. She's just 16 years old and charged with conspiracy. Well, the family of the man accused of going on a stabbing spree to Catholic Church in Albuquerque last weekend is now reaching out to the church and the people who were hurt.
I've definitely received an email that they are heartbroken and they're definitely struggling, and so definitely need to keep them in prayer. And you know, I think they feel terrible about what happened.
Father John Daniel here doesn't know if Lawrence Capener's family has been to Mass at St. Jude Thaddeus Church since the attack. That's when police say Capener stabbed 3 people as a Mass was ending last weekend because he thought the choir leader was a Freemason. Capener is now facing aggravated battery charges, and this weekend thousands of people were back at St. Jude's for Mass.
I wouldn't say it's normal. I guess there's probably a new normal. We're moving forward. People are healing, and you know, we're definitely praying for those who are injured.
Father Daniel also tells us St. Jude's is taking donations for the people who are hurt and their families. Well, a woman accused of hiding out in an elementary school in Albuquerque recently is still in jail this morning. Police say Samantha Amos violated her probation back in April. They say she tried to fool parole officers on a drug test, and when she was on her way to jail in handcuffs, she took off and hid at Monte Vista Elementary. She was in court this weekend asking a judge to lower her bond, which is set at $2,500.
I really cannot afford a $2,500 bond plus the other bonds pending. Is there any way you can try to lower it to something a little bit lower?
No, I think that's very reasonable under the circumstances.
Our officers also arrested Amos's boyfriend, this man, Armando Garcia. Police say he almost ran over an officer after he tried to help her avoid going to jail. Well, happening right now, state forestry workers are joining the hunt for what could be a firebug on the loose around Albuquerque.
Yeah, at least 10 suspicious fires were started since last Thursday in both Bernalillo and Sandoval counties. There have been fires near the La Luz Trail in the foothills. Then there were 5 fires on Friday morning. Now those sparked within a half-mile of each other northwest of Rio Rancho. Sandoval County fire officials say they could have some strong leads on who started those fires. Investigators say they found some tire tracks linking some of them to the same vehicle.
It looks like there's a good potential for at least one person involved with most of it.
Bernalillo County deputies were out patrolling around the Bosque looking for anything suspicious over the weekend. State forestry officials are also looking at some other possible connections to the fires that started near the La Luz Trail and those that started in the Sandia foothills near Tramway Thursday night. And with fire danger being high, state wildfire restrictions go into effect this week. On Wednesday, you will no longer be able to light fires or smoke on state land. This affects all non-municipal, non-federal, and non-tribal lands in New Mexico. Officials say not only is there a high risk of fire starting, but the dry conditions are making it hard for fire crews to fight these fires. And the drought also causing problems for fires, but it is also boosting up prices for cattle ranchers. The lack of rain is driving up the prices for many ranchers that are selling their cattle. They're trying to raise enough money just to survive. On Friday, 14,000 were up for sale at the auction house in Belen. That's triple the normal for this time of year. Ranchers can't afford to feed much of their range, so it is not good, they say, for grazing.
If they've got grass and it's green, it's that high, and a cow can't reach it. And most of them have no green. It's about as green as that straw is right there. They wait and see for rain. And if the rain don't come, then they sell a few more.
Myers says it's the worst cattle crunch he has seen in 4 years. If his herds continue to shrink, he says you should expect beef prices to start rising.
It's going to be a busy night for Albuquerque City Council. First, the community group called Answer NM wants people to tell the council about what it calls police brutality. Get to City Hall about 4 o'clock if you want to talk. The Answer Coalition is upset, saying the president of the police union, Greg Weber, attacked protesters in a memo. Plus, council is supposed to vote on a plan to review the Police Oversight Commission. That's the group that polices the police. And the council is set to vote on a new rule that would make councilors vote to hire a police chief or fire chief. Right now, the mayor hires these positions on his own. Well, New Mexico is getting $20 million to help it become the first energy self-sufficient state in the whole country. The Albuquerque Journal says the National Science Foundation is giving the universities and labs here the money to find a way for New Mexico to become the first state to produce more energy than it uses. The foundation wants us to use our sunshine to create energy and find ways to extract uranium, oil, and gas in a more sustainable way.